For our first episode of One Little Shift, Student Engagement Leadership PD in 3 minutes, we are going to focus on developing a shared language around student engagement work at your school. Teachers and administrators often operate from a variety of perspectives and understandings of what it means for students to be fully engaged in their classrooms. Engagement research informs us that there are 3 types of engagement: behavioral, how students act and interact in the classroom; cognitive, how students perceive intellectual challenge of the coursework; and emotional, how students feel about their learning. Each of these components help us understand how teachers can create engaging environments and how students may display their engagement in the classroom. At the Wellington Initiative, we put these concepts into a practical shared language that helps us analyze and understand student feedback on their engagement in each of their classes. When students have high cognitive and high emotional engagement, we call this engaged. When students have high cognitive engagement and low emotional engagement, we call this the grind. When students have low cognitive engagement and high emotional engagement, we call this entertained. And when students have both low cognitive and low emotional engagement, we call this bored. We can all think of examples of students who we have taught that fall into each of these categories. The student who falls in the entertained quadrant might be the student who is good at the game of school, but struggles to show resiliency through challenging assignments or tasks. The student who falls into the grind quadrant might appear of wanting just to get their work done. They put their head down, get to work, but they do not feel any larger sense of connection or love of the class. The student in the bored quadrant might begin to show low behavioral engagement and show off-task disruptive behavior. Each of these students needs something different from their teacher, but the goal is the same for each of them: to get them into the engaged quadrant so they can achieve the best possible outcomes in each of their classes. Translating engagement research into practice can be challenging, but a shared language is the key to getting everyone on the same page, focused on creating highly engaging learning environments for all students. Thanks so much for watching our first episode. See you next month.